Hello everyone, and welcome to Retro Brick Reviews, where today we'll be taking a look at LEGO Minecraft set number 21162, The Taiga Adventure. This set includes 74 pieces, one player figure plus 3 mobs, and it retails for about $10 in the United States. And without any further ado, let's begin starting with our figures. Our player in the set is the original Minecraft player skin, Steve, albeit with some gold pants in this set. Starting up at the top, you can see that the Steve figures in LEGO are and always have been based on the original design, where at the bottom of the face, he has the smile and or beard. That's still a subject of hot contention. I'm personally on the side of the Smile Gang. But anyway, that is just a simple print on the Minecraft cube headpiece, which, if you don't know how it works, is just a specially molded head that is cuboid in shape and has printing on the front. Very nice. He has purple eyes. The torso is very simple, with just the 4 pixels printed up at the top for his collar, and I've never been a huge fan of this print. Steve's torso in the game has more details in terms of creases and different colors, but more notably is the fact that the way the collar is done here makes no sense, because it implies that there is a centered pixel in Steve's torso, when in-game Steve's torso is 8 pixels wide, meaning that there is no center pixel. So that doesn't really work, and it's not a bad print by any means. It's totally serviceable, but I think that after 7 years of LEGO Minecraft, they could have done a bit better with this figure's torso. Not to mention the fact that Steve has and always has had short sleeves, and again, I feel as though LEGO could definitely spring for double molded arms on Steve. So the torso isn't great, but anyway, as you can see, and as I mentioned prior, Steve does have a bit of gold armor in the set, as he does have some golden leggings and boots, just represented by a pair of standard pearl gold legs. And that works fine. I think it's nice to get that in the set. It's a cool bit of variation. And his accessory is a golden sword, or butter sword if you want to be old school. And yeah, that's a neat accessory to get. It's not too often we get it with player figures. Normally we see it on zombie pigmen. So yeah, that's neat. Although something I do think is kind of interesting and that I'll be discussing throughout this review is that the thing that ultimately inspired me to get this set is that on my most recent Minecraft world that I started up, on Bedrock Edition to be precise, a lot of stuff that happened on my first day of playing that world lines up with what's in the set. And a good example of that with Steve here is that during my first night, when I was out fighting mobs, because I prefer to fight mobs than build a dirt hut on the first night, if I don't have enough wool for a bed, I came across a skeleton that was wearing some gold leggings, and he dropped them, and I ran across a zombie with a golden sword, which he also dropped, meaning that at the end of the first night, my player actually looked exactly like this one, which is a really interesting coincidence, especially since the drop rates for mob armor and weapons are not very high. But yeah, that's just a fun anecdote that I'll continually be revisiting throughout this video. But overall, good Steve figure overall, just the very average, extremely common figure that I do wish they would update, but I think that for this being just a $10 set, he's fine, and I like the gold for a bit of variation. After our most common player, we have one of our most common mobs, the skeleton. And as mentioned, the skeleton fits into the story of my most recent Minecraft world, because he dropped the golden leggings. But anyway, this is just a standard LEGO Minecraft skeleton, which means it's just a standard LEGO skeleton with a Minecraft skull head on top. And yeah, that's a nice print. Again, exceedingly simple, lacking a fair amount of detail from the game, but I don't mind so much the lacking detail on these Minecraft figures because I get it, these are toys, these are LEGO. I like that they do have a somewhat simplified style, as minifigures do as well. It just bothers me on stuff like Steve, like the blatant inaccuracy of that centered pixel. Yeah, but you could say that maybe they should have used some other parts to make the curves and angles on the skeleton less obvious. Like maybe using the version of the skeleton legs with boots at the bottom to make it look like he had square feet, for example. But I think this is fine enough. Again, it's sort of like Steve, where it definitely could be improved, but I don't mind the way it is too much. It's not blatantly incorrect, it's just kind of eh. What I do like is his accessory, where we have the Minecraft bow, which is still a really nice element. After all these years, I will say that I continuously am put off a little bit just by the tip of the arrow, where it doesn't look like there's an arrowhead there. It basically looks like he's just firing a stick. I wish that there was just one more little pixel under here, just to make the end look like a triangle, but that's a minor thing, and I can understand why LEGO doesn't want to completely remake that mold just to add a single pixel to the arrow. But yeah, it's a good design for the bow overall, and yeah, the skeleton, it's just another fine figure, which in general, like most LEGO Minecraft minifigures that are based on things actually in the game are just fine. When LEGO does their own unique skins, those are usually quite nice, but LEGO doesn't really go above and beyond with most of the standard players and standard mobs. But anyway, now that we've looked at the two figures, now let's move on to our buildable characters, who thankfully usually get a lot more effort into them. Starting with this cute little fella, it's the wolf, who is an exclusive mob to this set for one incredibly minor detail that I'll show in a minute. But first, you can see that he does have the standard LEGO Minecraft wolf headpiece, where if you can't tell how that's done, and you have the whole face with the printing and the muzzle and the ears, which is attached to this little gray bit here that is 2 plates tall and tiled off on the top. That is all one big piece that goes on the front, and then the rest of the wolf is brick built, where you can see that they use the little textured bricks to make it look like he has distinct legs. His tail in the back is on a hinge, so you can move that up and down if you want. He has studs on his back, and the one little difference on him that makes him unique from all other wolves is that every other LEGO wolf ever made in Minecraft has a collar. And as you can see, this guy just has a dark gray plate here, which means that he is supposed to be an untamed wolf. So that's nice. And this fits in simply because I found a wolf while I was playing. Again, not all of these inclusions that I'm going to talk about are super amazing. Like, I'm sure lots of people have found wolves, but it's just all of it put together, I feel, as well as a couple of the things like the 2 specific elements of dropped armor, really feel very much close to this set and did convince me to buy it. But anyway, that's the wolf. I think he's really cute. Yeah, not much else to say on him, though. Our final mob in the set is the somewhat controversial LEGO Minecraft Fox. And if you're wondering why it's controversial, look no further than the head, where LEGO made the decision, rather than making a new specialized piece just for the fox, to reuse the existing cat/ocelot headpiece, which some people took issue with because while the shape is very similar, there are definite differences, such as the width of the ears and the fact that the head is a bit shorter on the fox compared to the cat. So as a result, this is definitely not a completely accurate version of the mob. Personally, I still think it looks mostly fine, just a bit derpier than how it looks in game, but I don't think it's that bad, especially considering that this is just a $10 set. You can see that it is built primarily in orange out of plates, though you do have a bit of brown used around the tail for connectors, and that just allows the tail to move not only up and down, but even side to side as well, so you could get a look where it is just wagging its tail if you wanted to, which is not necessarily fox-like behavior, but it is certainly cute. And in my most recent Minecraft world, my original spawn was actually very close to some foxes. I think me and my little brother, since I was playing with him, we found them after about a minute, and it was actually my first time ever seeing a fox in Minecraft. So that was really neat. But anyway, this little guy is the last mob in the set, so now let's move on to our very minimal build. Here it is, folks, the Taiga Adventure. Yeah, it's just 3 6x6 plates with minimal building on top. That's the Taiga Adventure. But hey, to be fair, when I spawned in my newest world right next to a taiga biome, there wasn't really anything going on there either. It's the taiga. It's pretty barren. But anyway, for Lego's version, starting up at the front, you can see that we have the Lego Minecraft Fire piece, which is a very nice double molded element, where you have white at the bottom for your smoke, and then 2 different levels of trans orange fire at the front and back. And how this piece works is if you want someone to be on fire, you just take the 2 studs in the center and just stand them in there. And for the purposes of the set, that would be our skeleton. As of course in Minecraft, if ever a nighttime mob, such as a zombie or skeleton, is still alive, when the sun comes out, they will burn up in the sun. So, that's nice. However, for the purposes of my playthrough, it would come from the fact that I ultimately perished by way of enchanted arrow with flame. So, that was fun. But just moving that out of the way, you can see that this front plate is just attached with a couple of the recent 2x4 jumper pieces. And then moving over toward the back, you have a couple of these nice berry bushes that the foxes love, as well as a single mushroom. And then that is on top of a dirt mound with a block of TNT, and in comes the incredibly simplistic play feature of the set, where you just push down on this tile, and just this little bit in the back goes flying. It doesn't even launch the TNT block itself, which is kind of odd. You'd think that they would tell you to build it, at least with the TNT on there, like this. But either way, it's just a very simple play feature, basically just for the sake of having something going on, which makes sense. A lot of the very small Minecraft sets do include explosion features like this, just with a little push-down tile, just for the sake of having something going on. And in my world, it wasn't TNT, but I did have the very shared experience of on your first night accidentally walking right into a creeper. And thankfully not dying from the explosion. But yeah, so that's all I have to say about this set. It is an incredibly simple build with one very simple play feature, but I still think it's pretty charming, and considering the cost, I think that this, as well as all the figures they include, is pretty well worth it. But before we wrap up, let's take a quick look at the set's extra pieces. For such a small set, we actually get a good amount of extra pieces, and some of them are quite nice, such as the flower stem piece, a stud with a hole in it in red, which is still not super common, and a green flower piece. Other than that, it's nothing too special, but I do think those in particular are some nice pieces to get, especially since you could combine those to make an extra little berry bush, albeit with just one berry. But now that we've taken a look at those, let's move on to the final verdict. So overall, would I recommend LEGO Minecraft set number 21162, The Taiga Adventure? Well, I mean, it's a $10 set, meaning that ultimately it comes down to, is there something here that you like? Because it's so cheap that this is kind of a set where even if it's just for one of the mobs or just even just like the 6x6 sand green plate or the 2x4 jumpers, it's pretty easy to justify getting a set of this small price. Personally, I got it for that awesome fire piece, as well as just because, as I've been saying throughout this whole review, it does definitely share a lot with my most recent actual Minecraft experience, which is really neat. And what I do like about these smaller Minecraft sets that include a lot of different characters is that even though they are quite small, you can still definitely use them to create stories, like the one that I experienced in-game. Really, all you need is your imagination. So, overall, I think I would recommend this set, or at least one like it, if this one in particular isn't your cup of tea. I just think, in general, these smaller, more fun, character-filled LEGO Minecraft sets are definitely the theme's best, and in general, some of my favorite LEGO sets they put out each year. I really love a lot of these. So, thank you all so much for watching this video, but for right now, this is Retro Brick Reviews, signing off.